group of men found themselves face to face with something they couldn't explain, all unfolding inside a room that one of them was quick enough to film on his phone. As he stepped in for a closer look, the footage caught something truly unsettling: the figure of a ghost. You're going to want to keep your eyes on this one. Right there in the recording, a ghostly form can be seen taking shape inside the room. The shock of what they were seeing sent the group scrambling to get out as fast as they could. Real or staged, the clip spread like wildfire across TikTok in no time. So, what's your verdict? Take a good look and drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Follows is footage from a mother who had just welcomed a newborn into her home. When sometime around 3:40 in the morning, her security cameras picked up something so frightening she couldn't bring herself to step out of the bedroom.
Yeah.
According to Daisy Andrade, out of every strange occurrence she's dealt with under her roof, this particular one might top them all. And the unease only deepens when you consider that what she recorded could be connected to what other people have filmed while visiting the island she calls home.
A lot of ancient Hawaiian stories or traditions, or I would call superstitions. It's probably just ancient Hawaiian spirits trying to get my attention.
So take note of this stick here, right?
Okay.
So there's nothing to its left, but at the same time, I look at this other one. I zoom in. Look, but I zoom into that. This is like a hole right there.
That outside footage only adds another layer of dread to what Daisy captured. In her own words, "I always pray out loud before going to sleep, and that night we happened to forget our nightly prayer. Whatever came into this space will not be invited back." Here's the moment she recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
After coming face to face with whatever was mimicking the sound of their child, Daisy and her husband were both convinced the experience had no rational explanation. Something unseen was calling out to her, and what shook her most was that it sounded identical to her own son, who the entire time was sound asleep in his bed. If none of her older kids were up either, then who exactly was calling for mom?
Yeah.
As Daisy puts it, growing up and living in Hawaii has exposed her to no shortage of unexplainable events over the years. This is just one chapter in a longer story, but she admits nothing has rattled her quite like this. Whether it's the same apparition that tourists on the island have reported encountering, or something else altogether, the simple fact that she still doesn't know what spoke that night is more than enough to keep Daisy and her family on edge. A family was spending a quiet evening at home, a couple and their young son laughing and playing together, when something unexpected broke the mood. They stopped what they were doing and looked at one another, each wondering if the other had picked up on the same thing.
What was that? Did you hear that? I thought that was him for a second.
Was that outside?
Was that Bermuda?
What is that? Stop.
Is that outside or is in here?
Who?
What was that? Did you hear that? I thought that was him for a second.
Was that outside?
Was that Bermuda?
What is that? Stop.
Is that outside or is in here?
And then I saw it.
What was that? Did you hear that? I thought that was him for a second.
Was that outside?
Was that Bermuda?
What is that? Stop.
Is that outside or is in here?
Their first instinct was to blame the dog, but that theory didn't hold up. Whatever was making the noise, it was getting louder and harder to brush off.
Be careful. Do you want to give the baby to me?
I think that's from outside, babe. It sounded loud, but it might get an
Is there
explanation.
any wind?
They headed downstairs, convinced that's where it was coming from, but there was nothing to be found. See exactly what their camera recorded.
You've been here the whole time. Hi, the Christmas tree, look. Light the Christmas tree. What's going on with the Christmas tree? That was weird, right?
That was really weird.
What was that?
I don't know.
When the footage made its way online, the reactions came pouring in. One viewer threw out the idea that it might have been a fox, while another admitted the clip was simply too unsettling to sit through. Now, I want to know what you think. Do you believe this couple are genuinely onto something, or is it all in their heads? Caitlin posted a deeply puzzling video to her TikTok that has left a lot of people searching for answers. She explained that her father had set up security cameras around their property as a precaution against theft and deliberate damage caused by people in the neighborhood. Then, one morning at around 4:23 a.m., a motion alert came through on her father's phone. The timing struck her as suspicious, so she pulled up the footage to see what had triggered it. What she saw stopped her cold. See for yourself. A dim, semi-transparent white shape drifts across the backyard. The way it moves carries an unmistakably human quality, yet something about it is profoundly unsettling. On top of that, writing it off as a simple camera glitch isn't easy. The shape travels in a clear, purposeful direction, as though whatever it is knows exactly where it's going. Some people in the comments tried to rationalize it, pointing to lens flare or insects passing too close to the camera as possible culprits. But the path the figure follows never wavers or breaks apart. So had Caitlin's security system accidentally recorded a roaming spirit? Or does the real explanation run even stranger and darker than that? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. 3 friends were hanging out together at one of their homes, enjoying themselves, when the person who lived there suddenly started hearing unsettling sounds coming from the bathroom. At first, they dismissed it as nothing more than a weird fluke, but the noises kept going, and eventually they couldn't ignore it anymore. They had to go investigate. What their camera recorded in that moment left all 3 of them absolutely terrified.
Se están escuchando mazo de ruidos, tú. Eso viene del baño.
No vayas, estás loco,
Hermano.
¿Qué es lo que quiere que vayas? Vale, venga, poco a poco, tío. Una polla.
Una polla. Una polla.
No.
Para.
Linterna, hermano, ¿qué haces? ¿Estás loco?
Se está escuchando y hermano.
Escúchame, pon la linterna ahí.
Hermano. ¿Hola?
Una polla.
No.
Hermano, esto es mucho mal rollo,
¿Hay alguien ahí?
No.
Hermano.
Tira, vamos a ver lo que hay.
Pero, hermano, no.
Espera, un poco más. Tira. Asoma la cámara. Espera. Espera lo que hay, espera tú. Vale, ahí no hay nada. No hay nada ahí. ¡Hostia puta!
As one of the guys slowly swings the camera around toward the bathroom doorway, you can make out what appears to be a pale, grayish figure with long flowing hair, peering up from inside the bathtub. That was all it took. The 3 of them bolted straight out of that house in a complete panic. So was this a genuine spirit caught on film, or an elaborate setup designed to fool us? As always, the verdict is entirely up to you. This next clip was sent in by a woman named Erica. The footage was recorded by a CCTV camera inside her young cousin's home, somewhere in Indonesia. In the video, the boy is seen lounging on the floor of his grandmother's bedroom, casually scrolling through a game on his phone, while his grandmother lies in bed recovering from an illness. And then, out of nowhere, something absolutely chilling is caught on tape. The boy's legs are suddenly yanked out from under him as he's pulled across the floor. Completely panicked, he scrambles to his feet, throws open the door, and bolts out of the room. And here's where it gets even stranger. A second door right beside him swings open on its own. What makes the whole thing so unsettling is that when his cousin Erica spoke to him afterward, he revealed something that made everyone's skin crawl. He told her that his grandmother, lying there in bed, had suddenly claimed she could see 3 women standing nearby. Assuming she was just delirious from being unwell, the boy brushed it off and went back to his phone. Then, moments later, he was violently dragged across the floor.
Awalnya kan main FF. Tiba-tiba Opung bilang, apa itu perempuan 3 orang, satu dekat TV, satu dekat itu, yang kamera-kamera.
And the rest, you just saw for yourself. The family are convinced that whatever spirits are drawn to that room may also be connected to the grandmother's declining health. But as always, drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you make of it. Our next clip was posted to Reddit by the user whose name you can see on screen. In her description, she explained that her brother was attending college in Boston and was by himself in his apartment when he suddenly got the feeling that something wasn't right. That feeling seemed to be pulling him toward his roommate's room. He turned his head in that direction, and that's when a shadow caught his eye. His phone happened to be in his hand, so he quickly snapped a photo, and when he glanced back up, whatever he'd seen was already gone. A dark figure appears to be peering out from behind the door. A lot of people believe we're hardwired to detect when someone or something is watching us, even without actually seeing it directly. But stories like this one make that idea feel a lot more unsettling. Just how often is that gut feeling actually picking up on something real? The person who posted this has since gone quiet. No follow-up, no mention of anything else happening, and no background on the apartment itself. So we want to hear from you. Like, what do you think was lurking in that doorway? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. So what are we dealing with here? A highway, a tunnel, daytime, or pitch black? Some kind of structure? Well, the location in question is a tunnel originally constructed alongside railroad tracks back in 1927. This eerie underpass has long carried a dark reputation, all because of a tragedy that took place there decades ago. The story goes that late one night, a distressed mother was making her way along the tracks carrying her infant child. Tragically, neither of them survived when a train came out of nowhere and struck them both. Ever since, people who have ventured into that tunnel have reported seeing the ghostly figure of a woman cradling a baby, while others swear they've heard the faint, haunting wail of an infant echoing off the walls. A guy named Levi from the Apollo Paranormal YouTube channel came across this story and couldn't let it go. He had to see it for himself. So one night, he headed deep into that tunnel alone, with no idea what was waiting for him in the dark.
Been down in here in a place called Crybaby's Tunnel. It's a place that's local around my area, and they say she got hit on the tracks with her baby, or her body was dumped right there in the creek down here. There's something dead right there. Bro, there's something dead right there. It's a dead deer. I think it's a dead deer. I've been out here forever trying to get stuff, bro. This place is spooky. Is anybody out there? Hello? Right. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Bro. Hell no.
Completely by himself in that pitch black passage, he suddenly heard the unmistakable sound of a baby crying, drifting toward him from somewhere in the distance.
Oh. Hello? Right.
And you can see he wasted absolutely no time getting himself out of there. So could those cries really belong to the infant who lost its life in that very tunnel? Drop your thoughts below. Late one night, a man starts hearing unsettling sounds coming from somewhere inside his home office. Not knowing what to make of it, he pulls out his phone and hits record. What he ends up capturing clearly rattles him to his core. The guy is visibly frightened, and whatever was lurking outside the window appears to disappear the instant the lights come on. But pay close attention here. Right there beyond the glass, a pair of eerie glowing eyes can still be spotted, seemingly fixed directly on him. So, in response to the skeptics in the comments, he goes back and films the exterior of the office the following day. As it turns out, that office window sits on the second floor, with absolutely nothing nearby that would allow a person or animal to scale the wall or hover outside it. So what exactly was peering through that window in the middle of the night? Was it something explainable just caught from an odd angle, or is there something far darker going on? That's for you to decide. Urban explorer by the name of Khalid decided to venture through an abandoned industrial complex in the dead of night. At first glance, the place seemed completely still, with no sign of anything out of the ordinary. Then the camera captured this.
أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات. شوفوا يا جماعة. أعوذ بالله. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. وبراء ونفث وعقل.
As Khalid made his way through the derelict site, he suddenly picked up the sound of strange screaming cutting through the silence, coming from somewhere off in the distance. He began moving toward it carefully, and with every step he took, the noise grew more intense and harder to shake off. Then, just moments later, a large plastic water tank began sliding across the floor on its own, as though some unseen figure was shoving it from the other side. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Khalid walked over, checked around the back of the tank, and even peered inside, but there was no one there, not a soul. The whole incident left people in the comments completely stumped as to what could have set that thing in motion. We've covered a TikTok creator by the name of Rosanna before here on The Haunted Frequency. She's been documenting a relentless string of paranormal encounters that have been tormenting her inside her apartment for quite a while now. Rosanna says she's unable to leave due to her financial circumstances, and she has no family members she could stay with. In previous updates, she had recorded everything from solid black figures materializing inside her home to unexplained wisps of smoke and intense poltergeist disturbances. Then, strangely, Rosanna went completely silent and hadn't posted a single thing since February of this year. That all changed on May 6, 2026, when she finally came back and shared something that will genuinely make your skin crawl.
Il est 5 heures. Il est 5 heures. 5 heures. 5 heures. 5 heures. 5 heures. 5 heures, voilà. Ça continue. Ça continue.
At 5 in the morning, Rosanna is woken by a heavy pounding at her front door. She cautiously makes her way over to peer through the peephole, only to find the glass smeared with what looks like a thick, red liquid. Without warning, the peephole goes pitch black, and a pair of unsettling, inhuman eyes with narrow vertical slits appear on the other side, staring directly back at her from the darkened hallway. Rosanna stumbles backward in sheer terror. She begins coughing uncontrollably, later describing the sensation as her throat physically tightening shut. But the ordeal is far from over. She spots a dark shadow shifting in the gap beneath the door, and as she crouches down to film underneath the door frame, a strange dark smoke comes violently bursting through the gap and straight toward her. Rosanna scrambles away screaming in a complete panic, describing the mysterious smoke as something that actually felt like it was burning her face. So just what is it that keeps tormenting Rosanna inside the place she calls home? On August 4th, 2023, two men broke into a haunted church, the kind of place most people wouldn't go anywhere near. The chapel had been shut down for reasons nobody ever officially explained, though many locals suspected it had something to do with the disturbing things taking place inside. The priest assigned to the parish had already relocated to a different church, having publicly admitted that certain unavoidable circumstances left them with no option but to close the building indefinitely. One evening, these two friends made the decision to pay the chapel a visit. Their plan was simple: sneak inside. The building had been sitting empty for 3 months, and their curiosity got the better of them. What they didn't realize, though, was just how badly they'd miscalculated. This was a decision they'd come to deeply regret. See for yourself what unfolded.
There's a light on.
The light's the everlasting light. It's in every church. It's always supposed to be on. It's freezing, actually.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Maggots? Oh my god, it smells. Oh my god. I'm trying to step on. Oy. That was disgusting. What the fuck? Let's go upstairs. What the fuck? What is that? Oh my god. Hold up.
Give me that. Let me see your face. Dude, you gotta be quiet. What the fuck? More.
Oh my god. These things are fucking everywhere. It's cold as hell. No, I hear something.
Take care.
I heard something.
Get out. I heard something.
I know you did too.
Yeah. Take this towel.
I don't know.
What was it?
I don't know what the fuck this shit was. There's something.
The two friends glance back toward the playroom just in time to watch the door slam shut completely on its own. Overcome with panic, they bolted from the room in absolute terror. There was no explanation for how the door had moved by itself, but somehow even more unsettling were the faint whispers they'd picked up just before stepping inside. A number of viewers have noted that if you turn the volume up and really listen, the sounds resemble children whispering or possibly a group of people in prayer. Honestly, both interpretations make sense given that this was a church with an actual playroom on the premises. Making the whole scene even creepier was the state of the floor, which was littered with insects, worms, and various other bugs piled up across the carpet in a way that felt deeply wrong. Not a lot of additional information exists about this location or the footage itself, so I'll leave the judgment call to you. Was this church abandoned because something genuinely sinister was living inside it? Or is there a rational explanation for everything these two witnessed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The San Pedro Mall in Costa Rica has long been rumored to be home to multiple ghosts and paranormal entities. A man named Johannes Emil worked as a security guard at the San Pedro Mall back in 2012. Johannes claims that he, his fellow staff members, and even various customers regularly encountered shadowy figures and heard voices with no apparent source. According to him, one of the most supernaturally active spots in the entire building is the basement parking lot, which is said to draw far more intense paranormal occurrences than anywhere else on the premises. Johannes describes it as so unsettling down there, particularly after dark, that he and the majority of his security colleagues do everything they can to stay away from it. Then, one night, just as Johannes is wrapping up his shift, something appears in that parking lot that sends an ice-cold chill straight through him. He had been waiting for a coworker to show up, so he'd been periodically checking the CCTV to see whether his coworker's car had pulled in yet. Eventually, the car appears on screen, and then he spots his coworker, but then he notices something else entirely. Here's what the camera captured.
Gerardo, fíjate detrás tuyo. salió algo ahí. Correcto, aquí salió algo raro. Mae, y véngate mejor.
Despite the grainy, low-resolution footage, two distinct figures can be seen moving through the parking lot. The first is clearly Johan's coworker, but the second, Johans has absolutely no idea what it could be. His coworker appears to sense that something is behind him and slowly turns to look, but by the time he does, whatever was there has already vanished. When his coworker reached the security office, Johans told him exactly what he had witnessed on the monitor. His coworker was shaken to the core. He said that the moment he stepped out of his car, an overwhelming wave of dread had come over him for no reason he could explain. Many viewers who have watched this footage are convinced that what the camera picked up was a shadow figure, or a ghost, and that its presence is precisely what triggered that feeling. So perhaps the San Pedro Mall really does live up to its haunted reputation after all. Late one night, a motorcyclist had his camera rolling during what should have been a routine ride, until something stopped him cold. What started as an ordinary after-dark journey quickly became something far more disturbing. As he moves cautiously down the deserted road, a pale white shape materializes at the roadside without warning. The figure is completely still, almost otherworldly, caught in the sweep of his headlight beam. Shaken but pressing on, the rider keeps moving, yet the moment is frozen forever in the footage. Was this just some odd stranger standing alone in the dark, or does it point to something no logical explanation can account for? Out there on that isolated stretch of road, that silent figure may be concealing something far more sinister than it seems. She was by herself at home when something absolutely terrifying unfolded. Not long ago, a young woman uploaded a series of deeply unsettling clips to Reddit that spread across the internet at an alarming speed. According to her, she and her roommates had just settled into a new apartment, but within the first few days, framed pictures and various items they'd mounted on the walls kept dropping to the floor with no clear cause. As time passed, her roommates grew more and more uneasy about living there. Then came the moment when she was completely alone in the apartment, and this is what the camera caught. A picture fixed to the wall began shifting on its own without warning. Shortly after, the desk chair started moving by itself as well. The recording cuts off there because the girl was so overcome with fear that she bolted out of the apartment and refused to return until her roommates were back. Once she shared the footage online, commenters flooded in, suggesting the objects were likely being disturbed by airflow from the room's ventilation vent. In response, she filmed a follow-up video to address that theory directly, pointing out that the exact same thing occurs even with the ventilation system completely switched off, entirely off. But what the camera picked up next was something else entirely. See for yourself.
This is our vent test. We have about a minute until the heat's supposed to cycle on. We're gonna see if that does anything to move the picture frame. did not come on yet.
As she stood waiting to demonstrate the vent being inactive, a sudden heavy thud rang out from the direction of the front door. She went to investigate and found a single shoe sitting out in the hallway. Then, just moments later, another sharp crash erupted from somewhere inside the apartment. She rushed back in and found that the picture previously hanging on the wall had come crashing down. So, where do you stand? Is this apartment genuinely haunted like some viewers believe, or do you have a different theory? On September 21st, 2022, a woman was strolling through the rear of her property, simply soaking in the solitude of her surroundings. She lived in an incredibly remote location, deep in dense woodland and nowhere near any neighboring houses. These kinds of walks were a regular part of her day, but at a certain point, something out of the ordinary grabbed her attention. An odd movement stirred among the trees, and almost immediately, she got the overwhelming sense that something, or someone, had its eyes on her. Rattled by the feeling, she grabbed her phone and started filming.
I seen somebody run through these woods just now. I live in a country, not too many people know about this back here, but I'm telling you, I could have sworn I saw somebody. Oh my goodness. Hey Zach! I could have sworn. See, Zach, there is a man over there. What? I'm not even playing. You need to go check it out. There is somebody over there.
I'll go check.
Hiding by our tree right now. I'm not even. Be careful. I just seen him over there by that tree, Zach. Zach, be careful. I'm not even playing.
As she sweeps the camera back and forth, trying to pinpoint where the movement and sounds are coming from, a shadowy figure becomes visible, peering out from behind one of the trees. The encounter only lasts a matter of seconds, but it's more than enough to send a chill down your spine. Visibly shaken, the woman makes the decision to keep her distance from whatever she's looking at, and right at that moment, the footage cuts out, leaving the question of what she actually came across completely unanswered. But the story didn't end there. Later that same night, after strange noises started up again from the back of the property, the family headed out together to take a closer look. What their camera picked up this time was even more disturbing.
This is day 2, and I'm telling you, there is something in those. Oh my goodness, Zach! Zach! Yeah. There is something out there, Zach. There is. I'm telling you, you need to go check it out. I don't know what it is. There's something out here. I'm not even playing. Please go and check it out. I'm about to freak. Please. Like. Oh my gosh, y'all, like there's something out here. I'm not even going no closer because I'm so scared. Zach, I'm telling you, there is somebody or something out here. Zach, I'm not even kidding. Go.
Once again, the eerie figure materializes among the trees. Only this time, it appears to sense their presence and bolts into the surrounding vegetation. When one of them goes over to check the spot, he finds absolutely nothing. No trace of anyone having been there, no sounds, no rational explanation for what they'd just seen. The whole experience left the family profoundly shaken, and from that point on, they've become convinced that whatever they encountered was something far beyond an ordinary intruder, particularly given that the region they call home has long been steeped in local legends and old stories about mysterious creatures said to roam those very woods. Guatemalan news anchor Vivian Vasquez, known for her signature top knot, is behind the wheel during her morning commute, heading in to deliver the early news broadcast. She never arrives. Instead, Vivian becomes the heartbreaking story of the morning herself, after her lifeless body is found at the scene of a devastating car crash. Friends, colleagues, and devoted viewers are left stunned and grief-stricken by the sudden loss. Local traffic authorities respond to the scene and document the wreckage on camera as part of their investigation. But once that footage circulates publicly, grieving fans notice something embedded in the audio that sends chills down their spines. Did you catch that just now? A distressed female voice can clearly be heard crying out in Spanish, "What did you do to me?" When you study the footage closely, there's simply no logical reason for anyone at that crash site to be screaming those words. Vivian's devoted followers are convinced it was her tortured soul calling out from the other side. To this day, Guatemalan officials have been unable to determine what actually caused the crash. Adding to the mystery, Vivian's personal cell phone was never handed back to her family, and nobody has ever explained why. So what really happened to Vivian Vasquez that morning? And what do you make of this deeply unsettling recording? Drop your thoughts in the comments. In Brazil, an influencer named Jessie Lancaster left her audience completely baffled after posting a clip that seemed, at first glance, like a routine late-night vlog. The video shows Jessie unwinding in the pool at her house, with the whole scene looking perfectly peaceful and unremarkable, until something unexpected occurs in the water just behind her. Once she caught sight of the movement, Jessie went back through the footage and found something that's genuinely difficult to account for.
Na piscina, porque se tem piscina, tem que usar, né, gente? E ainda agora que eu tirei o cabelo, né, o loiro que antes não podia entrar. Aí agora, meu amor, agora eu entro, agora é maravilhoso. Aí o que acontece, gente? Eu queria contar um negócio pra vocês que aconteceu essa madrugada. Eu falei só um pedacinho, né? Eu tava dormindo. Gente, vocês perceberam que apareceu? Moxa, mas quem tá lá é a Meg. Meg? Não, gente, aquilo foi a pata da Meg. Eu vou lá. Meu Deus do céu, gente, que babado foi esse? Ui. Ui, gente.
Woman by the name of Diana recently uploaded a series of clips to her Instagram account that have been generating quite a buzz within the paranormal community. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. In the footage, Diana is filming from outside her home when multiple police vehicles, lights and sirens going, pull up to the property directly across the street, leaving both Diana and the man she lives with completely baffled. The camera then shifts to show several officers gathered at the front of an RV, apparently attempting to communicate with someone they believe to be inside. A second clip Diana shared captures the silhouette of a child standing in front of one of the police cruisers, but the moment an officer walks by, the figure simply vanishes. Toward the end of that same video, the silhouette reappears near the patrol car, yet when Diana pans the camera away and brings it back, the figure is gone once more. In a third video, Diana and her companion actually step inside the RV, and this is where things take a genuinely disturbing turn. We also learn more details about what had unfolded prior to their arrival.
Oh, great. Oh my God. Jeez. Oh my God. Oh my God. What was that? Ugh. Okay. Wait, did this guy have a kid? What is this?
Yeah, his kid died too, like, I don't know, before. A long time ago.
As you just witnessed, a dead crow drops from the ceiling, which visibly shocks them both. We also learn that the man who passed away inside the RV had a child who died many years before him. Could the figure spotted near the police car actually be that man's deceased child? Shortly after, Diana posted a follow-up video to give her audience a bit more background. When someone asked about the history of the man who died, she admitted she had no information. She was equally in the dark about the circumstances surrounding the child's death. She did add a note in her post description clarifying that the man in the trailer died from natural causes. She believes it was a heart attack, possibly related to a malfunctioning pacemaker. During a Q&A, someone asked whether she thought the ghost of a young girl had been present, and she said she genuinely wasn't certain. Another viewer suggested it could have been a reflection of something, and she acknowledged that was a fair possibility. She was also asked whether anyone in the neighborhood had previously reported unusual sightings or strange activity, and she said not that she knew of. On a personal level, Diana shared that stepping into that trailer left her feeling deeply unsettled. almost overwhelmed with anxiety. She also mentioned that she does believe in ghosts, at least to a degree. So where does that leave us with this whole thing? It's a surprisingly layered story with a lot of moving pieces, and with any luck, some real answers will surface down the line. Security. The following video was captured inside what appears to be a home basement and the connected hallways, a space that, according to the second clip's witness, has been the source of escalating activity ever since his sister filmed something down there. The clip she took is the one you're about to see first, and it's silent, no audio at all, which somehow makes it feel even more unsettling. She walks down a carpeted staircase into the basement level, past a cluttered living area, and starts moving through a long, narrow hallway with a series of closed wooden doors. There's nothing immediately wrong, just a quiet house at night. Watch.
I've been hearing some creepy noises down here for a while, and I'm scared. I wanted to try and record it, because no one's gonna believe me. Now, as soon as I record it, nothing happens, okay? Huh? Fuck. No. You gotta be. What the hell? This isn't funny. This has gotta be a prank. Hello? Oh, thank God. Hello? Guys, this isn't funny. What the? Hello? Hello? I'm coming in. Skittles. Nothing. Okay, this is getting weird. What? Is that the chair? Oh, God. I'm getting out of this place. What the? Oh, my God. No!
Every overhead light in that hallway switches off without any visible cause, plunging her into complete darkness. She keeps walking. Then, just as abruptly, around the 41-second mark, the lights snap back on, again with no visible interaction with any switch. She continues down the hall, opens one of the doors, a cat bolts out, and eventually she reaches a sparse back room with an overturned office chair lying in the middle of the floor. Nothing jumps out, nothing screams, but the lights going out and coming back on, with her just quietly moving through the dark in between, is the kind of thing that sits with you. Some think it's a wiring issue. Others believe that whatever is in that house was aware she was filming. It didn't stop there. According to the man in the next clip, ever since his sister recorded that video, the same part of the house has been generating a loud, repetitive knocking sound at the exact same time every single night. Terrifying at first, then just relentless. By the time he films himself going to investigate, he sounds exhausted and annoyed, like someone who's had it. He follows the knocking down into that same basement, through those same hallways, and notices something new. A door to a crawl space is standing open that shouldn't be. He heads inside and unscrews the single bare bulb, plunging the room into total darkness. Watch.
Since my sister took that damn video every single night at the same time this knocking starts. Terrifying the first few days, but now it's just annoying the hell out of us. Yup, I hear ya. Hey. Nothing. Always nothing. Brand new house too. And now this door's open. To the creepy ass fucking room. God fucking damn it. What the light go on.
The moment the light goes out, a violent bang erupts in the darkness, followed by a prolonged, high-pitched scraping sound, the kind that's hard to attribute to pipes or settling. And some say they see then two small green circular lights appear side by side in the black, resembling eyes, right before a final crash sends him screaming and dropping the camera. The green lights are the detail that's divided viewers the most. Skeptics argue they could be LEDs from an electronic device sitting in that storage space, a dehumidifier, a router, something mundane. But others point out the timing. The lights appear immediately after the scraping stops, as if whatever made the sound had turned to face him. Some believe the knocking itself is a form of intelligent activity, something drawing attention to a specific room, night after night, at the same time. And if that's the case, it knew exactly what it was doing when the light went out. What's harder to shake is the detail he mentions almost casually, that this all started the night his sister went down there with a camera. Whatever's in that house, it may have noticed her first. Now, in this next clip, a couple is sitting down for a meal when something in the next room starts moving on its own, something they've apparently seen before because the woman filming doesn't even flinch. She addresses the man as Rocky, telling him the chair is moving, and he responds from across the house with little more than, "That's weird," before casually breaking into song. Watch.
And this is what happens when we try to sit down to eat. Move, Rocket. Look. Rocky, the chair's moving.
That's weird.
He doesn't even believe me.
The wooden rocking chair in the living room begins to rock back and forth with a smooth, steady rhythm. No pet, no draft, no one near it. What makes this harder to dismiss is that reaction. She even says he doesn't believe her, suggesting this isn't the first time she's tried to show him. Some think residual energy can attach to furniture, especially rocking chairs, which carry such strong associations with presence and routine. You decide what's causing it. In this next clip, a woman is alone at night in what looks like a finished basement or family room when she notices something through the glass panes of a door at the far end of the room, something she says has been there before. She's sitting on the couch with her phone, and the moment the recording starts, you can already hear the fear in her voice. She's convinced something is watching her from the other room. Watch.
It's back. It keeps peeking in here on me. Oh my goodness gracious, what the hell? Ain't nobody in the other room. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Oh, my pistol's in the other room. I can't do it. What in the hell is that? Oh my gosh. It keeps... Hello? What do you need? I don't even know who you are. This house is haunted. There's something in the other room. Look at that. What is that? Oh, hell no. What the hell is that? What in the hell? Oh, hell no.
As she zooms in on the door, a dark vertical shape is visible through the lower corner pane, ornate and narrow, barely visible behind the sheer curtain. She's terrified, mentioning her pistols in the other room and calling out into the darkness. Some viewers think what she's seen is simply a furniture leg, a table or banister spindle caught in a sliver of shadow. Others aren't so sure because she insists it's done this before. You decide. The following footage was recorded inside what appears to be an older home, the kind of place where the decor alone, dim lamps, a corner hutch, and a ventriloquist dummy sitting casually on top of a display cabinet already makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up before anything strange even happens. The person filming moves through the house at night in complete silence, no audio whatsoever throughout the entire clip, making their way from the top of the staircase through a dining room down a hallway past that unsettling dummy, and into the kitchen. Nothing seems out of place on the first pass. Watch.
I just heard a really loud noise down here, and all of the kids are upstairs. Rocky's at work. Nothing's out of place, though. Oh, shit. Did you guys just hear that door move? Okay, there's gotta be... Maybe I'm just tripping. I don't even know. I don't even know, bro. Dude, I just want to... That was just upstairs in my room. This is the teddy bear I caught at the Elvis show. How did it... I have some explaining to do. I'm going back to bed.
On the second pass through the kitchen, a teddy bear is now sitting directly on the electric stovetop, positioned over a burner that's glowing with a blue light. It wasn't there moments before. There's no explanation for how it got there, and the silence makes the whole thing feel even more wrong. No gasp, no reaction, nothing. Some viewers immediately pointed to poltergeist activity, which in paranormal research typically refers to a disruptive presence that physically moves or manipulates objects, often with an almost deliberate quality, as if it wants to be noticed. Others think the placement is the detail that matters most. Not just that something moved, but that it landed on a lit burner, which feels less like a random repositioning and more like a statement. Whatever you make of that, the second clip takes place in a different home entirely, though the feeling is remarkably familiar. In this next video, a woman is sitting on her couch at dusk when she catches something moving in the dining room and manages to film it before calling out to the man she's with, Rocky, who appears surprisingly unsurprised. Take a look.
Rocky! Rocky! Rocky!
What?
The chair. The chair was moving. Do you see it?
Again?
What do you mean again?
What happened yesterday, too?
I'm not watching. I'm not watching. It's always cold. It's always cold in here. I'm not watching. I'm doing it. Nope, we're done. You can just hide with me under the blanket. It'll be fine.
A small, child-sized wooden rocking chair in the corner of the dining room rocks back and forth on its own, smooth and rhythmic, with no one near it. What makes Rocky's reaction almost as unnerving as the chair itself is what he says when she calls him over, again, and then calmly adds that it happened the day before too. She hides under her blanket, muttering that it's always cold in that room, that she's done watching, while Rocky sits on the couch, arm looking at his phone like a man who's made a kind of uneasy peace with whatever's in the house. Some believe a rocking chair moving on its own, especially a child-sized one, points to the presence of a child spirit, a theory that appears repeatedly in accounts of domestic hauntings where smaller furniture or toys seem to be the focal point of activity. Others argue the rhythmic, even quality of the movement suggests something more purposeful than a residual echo. The cold the woman keeps mentioning from under that blanket, she says it like it's a familiar complaint, not a new one. So what exactly has settled into that room, and how long has it been there? The following video was recorded by a woman who shares her paranormal experiences online, and this particular night, she says she got more than she bargained for. She sleeps in the bottom bunk of a bunk bed, and on this night, at 3:33 in the morning, she had her phone pointed up toward the top bunk when something caught her attention. That time, 3:33 a.m., carries weight for a lot of people who follow paranormal activity closely, sometimes called the Devil's Hour, a window where unexplained events are said to spike in frequency. She'd been lying there unsettled when she noticed the gray blanket hanging over the edge of the top bunk. Watch.
Hace apenas 2 días, toda mi familia y yo presenciamos, nos tocaron la puerta, era la 1:15, 1:20, la verdad exactamente no sé los minutos, pero era pasado 1 de la mañana. Obviamente, iban a abrir la puerta y yo no, o sea, ¿qué pedo? No la abras, o sea, claro que no. Primero buscamos una lógica de que si hubiera caído algo dentro de la casa, algo que hubiera hecho un ruido que como que pareciera que estuvieran tocando, algo dentro del closet, algo dentro de una bodega, algo en la lavandería, algo que azotara la pared, ¿sabes? No había nada. Todo estaba en su lugar. Efectivamente, tocaron afuera 3 veces, fueron 3 golpes. Si alguien sabe qué significa 3 golpes, de que así, 3 veces, fuerte, a la 1 de la mañana, todos lo escuchamos, todos, inclusive mi familia que está viendo la tele a todo volumen en la sala, escucharon, tanto como yo que estaba en otra habitación, todos escuchamos.
The blanket is slowly and deliberately pulled upward, tucked, almost, and then it's gone from view entirely, with no one visibly on the top bunk doing it. Her reaction afterwards says everything. She describes how the blanket moved and, impossibly, a small hair clip she keeps on the top bunk appeared from underneath a pillow. A pillow she says there was no natural way for it to have moved beneath. She muted the audio from the moment it happened because, in her own words, she screamed very badly. That kind of raw, unscripted panic is hard to fake. Some viewers think someone off-frame caused the blanket to move, but others point out the smooth, upward motion doesn't match a simple snag or fall. Either way, it clearly shook her. This next clip was recorded inside what appears to be a child's bedroom. A bright, ordinary room with a bunk bed, a white dresser, and string lights along the wall. At just after 8 in the morning, according to the security camera timestamp. The woman in the footage is simply picking out clothes, going about a completely routine start to the day in what the footage suggests is Sarah's room, when the atmosphere of the whole clip shifts in a matter of seconds. There's a dog, a large fluffy one, that wanders in and out of the closet, and for a moment, everything looks completely normal. Then, it got worse. There's no one else in the room, but you can tell from the way she slowly looks up toward the ceiling that she hears what comes next. Something running. Not something shifting or settling, but rapid thumping and scraping from directly above, like something scrambling across the ceiling space. Then come the knocks. 2 sharp bangs, then 3 more in quick succession, and she flinches hard at the first set. Many believe this kind of layered activity, sounds without sources, doors moving without contact, voices with no origin, points to what's often called poltergeist phenomena, a term rooted in German meaning noisy ghost, traditionally associated with environments where a child is present. Skeptics might argue a pet in the walls or loose ductwork, but that doesn't easily explain the way the dog reacted, like it knew something was there even before the woman noticed something was not right. Now, in this next clip, a couple is at home late at night when something appears in the doorway of their bedroom, and what makes this one so hard to shake is the way it just stands there, watching. The man holding the camera is in the middle of reciting the Lord's Prayer in Spanish when he spots it, which tells you something about what kind of nights they've apparently been having in this house. You don't pray over a quiet bedroom unless something has already been pushing you to that point. His voice is calm at first, steady, like he's done this before. Watch.
Nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase tu voluntad así en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día. Perdona nuestras ofensas así como nosotros perdonamos a quien nos ofende. No nos dejes caer en tentación y líbranos del mal. No mames. Lárgate de aquí. Lárgate. Lárgate. Lárgate de aquí. Lárgate, demonio. Vete de aquí. Está cabrón. A ver. Vete. Vete. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. ¡A la madre, puta! ¡Hijo de tu puta madre, güey! ¡A su virga, güey! ¡A su madre! No mames, cabrón. ¡Lárgate! Lárgate. Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga a nosotros tu reino. Hágase tu voluntad así en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día. Perdona nuestras ofensas así como nosotros perdonamos a quien nos ofende. No nos dejes caer en tentación y líbranos de mal. Amén. Oh, poderoso Dios, ayúdanos, protégenos.
The figure peeks from behind the door frame. Dark hair, humanoid shape, mostly still. And the moment the man registers what he's seen, the prayer stops cold. He starts screaming commands in Spanish, telling it to get out, calling it a demon, invoking the blood of Christ, before finally slamming the door shut with enough force to shake the camera. When he pans back to the woman in the bed, she's holding a small child wrapped in a blanket, both of them frozen with fear. For some viewers, the religious framing is the most telling detail. The fact that he went straight to spiritual commands rather than assuming an intruder suggests this wasn't the first time something like this had visited that doorway. Others think the figure could be explained as a person, though the way it pulls back and disappears the moment he reacts is difficult to square with that. When he finally opens the door and checks the hallway, there's nothing there. So what exactly was standing in that doorway? And why was it watching? Now, in this next clip, a man broke into an abandoned school somewhere in Mexico, phone in hand, already talking himself through the silence the way people do when they're more nervous than they want to admit. Cracked concrete underfoot, overturned desks piled against pale green walls, a chalkboard still covered in old chalk graffiti, the year 2019 still faintly legible through the blur. He kept whispering to the camera in Spanish, telling his audience there was nothing here, just dust and broken furniture, as if saying it out loud would make it true. But his breathing told a different story. Watch.
Pues ya vieron, güey. Puro pinche pedo, no hay ni madres a la verga. Ay, no mames. No mames. ¿Quién es? ¿Quién es? Qué verga pregunto, güey.
Some online have called it a crawler or slender type entity, a label popular on paranormal forums. But skeptics point to the creature's perfectly timed appearance as signs this was carefully staged. What do you think? Now, in this next clip, a man in Mexico is alone at home at 1:26 in the morning when he decides to start recording, because something has already knocked on his front door 3 times and he has no idea who or what keeps doing it. He walks through his house with his phone's flashlight cutting through the darkness, narrating to his followers in Spanish, his voice already shaking. He says he's scared, that he doesn't even know what's going on inside his own home anymore. You can feel the tension building with every step he takes. Watch.
Amigos, son las 1:26 de la madrugada y estoy solo. Ya van 3 veces que me tocan la puerta a mi casa y relativamente pues yo estoy solo, pero pues la verdad es que sí me da miedo. La neta no sé ni qué onda en mi casa y pues sí me da un chingo de miedo. Les juro. No mames, vete a la verga. No mames, no mames. No mames. Vete a la verga. No, neta, vete a la verga, vete a la verga. Se acaba de caer esta madre. No mames. No mames, no mames.
First, a rhinoceros figurine launches off a shelf inside a glass display cabinet and crashes onto the tiled floor with no one near it. And his reaction is immediate raw panic, running, screaming, swearing in Spanish as he tears through the house. Then, just as he starts to settle into another room, a dark object is thrown violently across the floor directly in front of him, and the clip ends with him screaming. 2 separate objects, 2 separate rooms, no visible cause for either. Some viewers think this is poltergeist activity, a type of disturbance often described not as a ghost, but as a force, something that moves and throws physical objects with apparent intent. Others aren't convinced and think it could be staged. But if you watch how quickly he runs, how genuinely terrified he sounds, you decide. This next clip was recorded by a woman working as a cleaner inside a large 2-story home in Arizona. Daytime, mid-shift with her colleague somewhere on the upper floor. According to her, while the 2 of them were both upstairs, she started hearing sounds coming from the kitchen below, the distinct noise of cabinet doors opening and closing on their own, in a house where no one else should have been. Her voice is shaky from the very first second. She films herself in what appears to be a bathroom, wide-eyed and whispering in Spanish, explaining that they're completely alone and the sounds are coming from downstairs. Watch.
Estamos en la casa donde dicen que se parece a la casa paranormal. Y no solamente se parece, aquí han pasado cosas que hemos grabado. Ahorita estoy aquí haciendo un baño y de repente se escucha ruidos. Estamos nada más mi compañera y yo. Les voy a enseñar las escaleras. ¿Estás escuchando? ¿Estás escuchando? Oye, se está escuchando los... Déjeme voltear la cámara. A ver, ¿sí estás escuchando? está nadie. Miren, vamos a ver. Ya sé, es que desde aquí ahora se está escuchando los gabinetes. No hay nadie. O sea, no hay nada, no hay nadie. Y no sé si ustedes escucharon los gabinetes, pero en el cuarto de allá arriba es donde falleció un muchacho. Oigan. No hay nadie. No hay nadie. Se escuchan los gabinetes. Y ahorita estamos en la parte de arriba. Ay, cabrón. Se siente medio ñañaras. Las escaleras, ¿se escuchan los gabinetes? Mucha gente la confunde con la casa. La paranormal. Ponme un comentario si escuchaste lo que son los gabinetes.
She never catches the source on camera. By the time she makes it down the stairs and pans across the kitchen, every single cabinet door is closed, exactly as it should be. She even stops at the bottom of the staircase, points back up, and says, firmly, like she needs you to understand, that both she and her colleague were upstairs the entire time. No one was down there. The sounds she describes fall into what some investigators call intelligent activity, not random environmental noise, but purposeful movement that responds to the presence of people in a space, stopping just before anyone gets a look. Skeptics would argue HVAC systems and old cabinetry can produce sounds like that in large homes, especially ones with temperature fluctuations. But if you listen to the way her breath catches at the end, it's hard to dismiss what she clearly believes she heard. So what do you think opened those cabinets? This next clip starts as a genuinely unsettling moment. A woman alone inside the old Sorrel Weed House Museum late on a Wednesday evening, moving through a room filled with antique furniture and historical artifacts, a candlestick in hand as she documents her visit. The house is quiet, the kind of quiet that seems to press in from every direction when you're surrounded by centuries-old walls and dimly lit hallways. Then a sudden metallic crash explodes from somewhere deeper inside the building. She freezes instantly. The sound is loud enough that it doesn't feel like an old house settling. It sounds like something has fallen, something heavy. If the location sounds familiar, it's because the Sorrel Weed House has been at the center of ghost stories for generations. Built in the 1840s in Savannah, a city already famous for its haunted reputation, the house is surrounded by stories of tragedy, death, and alleged paranormal activity. According to local legend, one of the most famous stories involves Matilda Sorrel, the wife of the home's original owner, who reportedly died after discovering an affair between her husband and an enslaved woman named Molly. The story claims that Molly later died under mysterious circumstances as well, with some versions suggesting she fell from a balcony, while others imply something far darker happened within the house. Whether those stories are entirely accurate or not, they have become deeply attached to the building's identity. Over the years, visitors and staff have reported hearing footsteps in empty rooms, voices coming from behind locked doors, objects moving without explanation, and the sensation of being watched while alone in the house. Some claim they've heard a woman crying from upper floors where nobody was present. Others describe seeing dark figures standing silently at the ends of hallways before vanishing when approached. People often arrive expecting to learn about the ghosts. They leave wondering if the ghosts were aware of them the entire time. And judging by the timing of that crash, the woman may not have been as alone in that house as she thought. This footage dates back to August 2025 and was captured by a security camera inside a family home. A woman who's been fighting a slow, exhausting mystery within her own walls. One that didn't begin with terror, but with small things that felt off. At first, it was easy to ignore. Toys would turn up in strange places, nowhere near where her child left them. Doors she distinctly remembers locking the night before would be standing open by morning. But what unsettled her most was something harder to explain. Every now and then, the house would suddenly fill with a smell, sharp, sterile, like medicine, or cold metal, with no source she could identify. For nearly 3 years, she tried to approach it rationally, but nothing stopped the feeling that something wasn't right. Eventually, she installed security cameras throughout the house and began checking the footage whenever she could. On August 23rd, 2025, the cameras finally captured something she wasn't prepared for. The first clip was recorded while her young son was asleep and she was taking a bath. The second clip is even stranger. It was early in the morning, and if you pay close attention, you'll notice that she enters the frame from the opposite direction the figure had just been moving, meaning whatever appears on camera wasn't following her. It was already there. She's hoping someone could help debunk it or point her toward a real explanation. So, what do you think? The following video was captured by CCTV inside a hospital, a place that never truly sleeps. Even late at night, the halls are filled with quiet movement. Nurses checking vitals, machines humming softly, families drifting in and out of wards. But on this particular night, something else may have been moving too. You can see what appears to be the figure of a small child, standing completely still. It doesn't move toward anyone, it doesn't react, it simply stands there, as if waiting. Moments later, the parents of one of the patients walk directly through the figure, and they clearly have no idea anything unusual just happened. Hospitals are often described as some of the most active locations when it comes to unexplained encounters. They're places where fear, grief, hope, and loss all exist at the same time, and many believe that kind of emotional weight leaves something behind. So, was this just a trick of shadows and lighting, or did the camera capture something most people walk past every day, without ever knowing it's there? This footage dates back to 2018 and was captured by a security camera inside a manned store. The store itself is an open-air garage with nearly 20-foot high ceilings, wide open space, and clear sight lines, the kind of place where movement is hard to miss. That afternoon, the owner was alone in his store when this happened. Out of nowhere, his sunglasses drop to the floor. At first glance, it might seem harmless. Maybe they fell off a shelf or were knocked over. But when he reviewed the CCTV footage, he realized something terrifying. No one walked in, nothing passed by. There was no gust of wind, no vibration, and no visible cause. The sunglasses didn't slide or tip over. It flew, as if it had been thrown. Many suggest the possibility of an unseen presence interacting with the environment, something strong enough to move a physical object, yet invisible to the camera. And in a wide open space like this, with nowhere to hide, that possibility becomes even harder to ignore. What do you think happened here? A freak accident, or something watching him work, waiting for the moment to make itself known? You be the judge. In this next video, a man who owns a Mexican seafood restaurant began noticing strange, almost unexplainable movements inside his business. At first, it was easy to brush them off. Small things that could be blamed on long hours, exhaustion, or simple coincidence. Glasses weren't where they were left. Items behind the bar seemed slightly out of place. And sometimes there was the unsettling feeling that something had moved when no one was nearby. At first, he didn't think much of it, but that changed once the security cameras started catching things he just couldn't understand. In the first video, the man is about to serve a drink, and if you look closely at the tray, one of the shot glasses suddenly moves on its own. He notices it, pauses for a moment, then brushes it off, assuming he imagined it. But the activity didn't stop there. Another clip shows one of the bartenders holding a bottle when, without warning, the neck of the bottle snaps clean off in his hand. Then comes another piece of footage. A bottle shifting on its own, sliding without anyone touching it. At this point, some might argue it only happens during busy working hours. Vibrations, movement, people nearby. But the most unsettling moment comes later, when the restaurant is completely closed. The security camera records creepy audio, faint whispers, low voices, sounds that shouldn't be there when the place is empty. Now the staff can't help but wonder whether these are just a series of bizarre coincidences, or signs that something else may be sharing their restaurant with them. Is it too early to call it haunted, or is this exactly the moment they should start paying closer attention and looking for answers? A woman named Mel and her family had just left their house for a quiet weekend getaway when her phone suddenly buzzed with a Ring camera notification, one that shocked the living daylight out of her. Watch this. On the footage, something or someone opens the front door, allowing her dogs to walk outside freely. What makes this unsettling is that when Mel checked the indoor cameras, there was no one visible inside the house. The door simply opens. Imagine being miles away from a home you're certain you locked, only to watch it open on its own. At that moment, Mel's biggest concern wasn't even the door, it was her dogs. She immediately called her neighbors and asked them to help. Thankfully, they were able to get the dogs safely back inside. Needless to say, that weekend getaway ended right there. This terrifying footage was captured by a nearby house security camera. A guy had just arrived at his mom's place and stepped out of his car to offload a few things, but the camera caught something he didn't notice at the time. You'll see what looks like a human figure walking slowly out of the woods. At first glance, it's easy to miss, but as the figure approaches the car, it suddenly bows down and then drops straight out of sight, disappearing completely. That's where the speculation begins. People say this could be a phantom person, a phenomenon many believe isn't a myth at all, but something that's been reported for centuries. Stories describe these figures as appearing briefly, often near roads, trees, or homes, only to vanish in ways that don't match human movement. Some say phantom people aren't spirits in the traditional sense, but residual figures, moments caught between time, replaying fragments of something that once happened there. So what do you think? A coincidence caught at the wrong moment, or something ancient and very real stepping briefly into view? This footage dates back to 2017, when a woman was simply trying to get some work done, but whatever was in the room with her clearly wasn't ready to let her focus. At first, the security camera captures something subtle. The chair shifts slightly. It's easy to dismiss. Chairs move sometimes, but then it slides farther than it should, before slowly drifting back into place, almost carefully. And when that didn't get her attention, whatever was there escalated. An object close to her, a bottle on the table, suddenly tips over and falls. That finally makes her react. She looks up, clearly confused, trying to make sense of what just happened. But it doesn't stop there. Moments later, her own chair is pulled backward, forcefully enough to break the illusion of coincidence entirely. This wasn't something falling, this wasn't gravity, this was interaction. And here's the detail that unsettles many viewers the most. If you increase the brightness of the footage, you can see what appears to be a faint silhouette moving backward in sync with the chair, as if something unseen is physically pulling it away from her. So here's the question that stays with viewers long after the clip ends. Was this something trying to frighten her, or something that had been there all along, finally making sure she noticed? You decide. The following footage was captured by a CCTV camera inside a local store late at night, long after the doors had been locked and everyone had gone home. Almost immediately, the internet split into debate. Some say it's nothing more than a draft, a random gust of air moving the toy across the floor. But skeptics were quick to point out how unlikely that explanation is. The toy doesn't slide or tip over. It rolls smoothly, almost as if it's being guided. Others suggested the toy had been left switched on, and that a faulty motor caused it to move on its own. On paper, that sounds reasonable. But here's where the explanation starts to fall apart. According to the store owner, the toy hadn't been touched for hours, and the store was completely empty at the time. What unsettled many viewers even more was the way the wheels moved. Several people slowed the footage down frame by frame, pointing out that the motion didn't look random or jerky. It looked controlled, like someone was pushing it just enough to make it roll. Locals familiar with the store claim strange things have been happening there for years, items falling from shelves when no one is nearby, and faint footsteps heard after closing hours. So, what do you think? Was this nothing more than physics and a malfunctioning toy? Or did the security camera accidentally capture something unseen, quietly passing the time, playing with a toy when it thought no one was watching? This footage was captured by a security camera installed in a basement. One evening, the homeowner went downstairs to grab a few things when he got distracted by a message on his phone. He sat down, unaware that the camera behind him was recording something he wouldn't notice until much later. Out of nowhere, the calendar is ripped off the wall. 2 pages tear clean through as it comes down, and when he checked the wall afterward, the nail was still firmly in place. Even stranger, when he picked the calendar back up and tried to hang it again, the hole lined up perfectly with the nail, meaning the paper didn't stretch, tear open, or rip downward the way it normally would if gravity alone caused it to fall. Some viewers pointed out the dog's reaction, or lack of one. Instead of barking or panicking, the dog simply moves away, as if giving space to something it sensed but didn't want to confront. What do you think? A man's brother came to stay over for a few days, and just a few hours after settling into the house, he had the feeling someone was shifting the bed in the guest room. He brushed it off, but as the night went on, the details stopped adding up. Eventually, the man decided to go back through the family's CCTV footage to see if anything unusual had been captured. Something was moving. But here's the problem. This is at least a queen-size bed, and his brother's wife is noticeably shorter, and from her sleeping position, her legs shouldn't even reach that far. Yet in the footage, her left leg flicks sharply and unnaturally, far faster and farther than would be possible for someone side sleeping in that position. So is something sharing the bed with them? You be the judge. This mysterious video was posted on Reddit, and ever since, people have gone into overdrive trying to analyze what they're seeing. While a family was out for the evening, with no one left behind in the house, their security camera captured something completely horrifying. What appears in the footage looks disturbingly like a small child walking through the house. When the family received a motion alert and checked the footage, they were immediately shaken. There were no children in the home and no pets. When they returned, still trying to rationalize what they'd seen, they reached out to the previous owners to ask if they had ever experienced anything strange while living there. That's when things got worse. The former occupants responded by sending their own video, footage from their Ring camera showing multiple orbs drifting around the property at night. They admitted they'd always felt like something was in the house with them. Then came another disturbing detail. The previous owners said their time in the house was marked by constant arguments, tension that seemed to come out of nowhere. Eventually, their marriage collapsed and they divorced, selling the house shortly after. Sadly, at the time this ghost child video was posted, the new owners were also in the middle of a divorce, and just like before, the house had gone back on the market. Different families, same house, same feeling, same ending. So is this just an unsettling coincidence? Or is there something about that house that doesn't let families stay whole? You decide. The following video was recorded a few years back when a man noticed something on his home security footage that he couldn't shake. Footage from the same night his young son woke up terrified, crying, and refusing to go back to sleep. The recording was captured at 3:30 a.m. by a static security camera mounted high in the living room, looking down over the couch where the boy was sleeping. The father says his son told him he saw someone standing in the hallway. Watch. In the deep shadows of the hallway, a tall, thin, human-shaped silhouette stands completely motionless, and then vanishes between one frame and the next, there 1 second and simply gone the next. Moments later, the boy stirs under his blanket, sits bolt upright, and quickly leaves the room. That sequence is hard to dismiss. Many who've studied similar footage attach the shadow person label to figures like this: dark, humanoid, stationary, and gone before anything can be confirmed. Others think it's a trick of compression artifacts on night vision footage, but the child saw something first. So what was standing in that hallway at 3:30 in the morning? Now, in this next clip, a man films himself moving through his home at nearly 2 in the morning after being woken by something he can't immediately explain. He's already holding his phone when it starts. Loud, aggressive knocking at the front door, 5 rapid strikes, then 7, then 3 more in a row, each series harder than the last. Watch.
¿Qué crees que sea? Te dije que ya no subiéramos, pero no haces caso. ¿Qué escuchas? ¿Quieres ir a ver? Te quedas aquí. Vamos. ¿No te da miedo? Vamos, vente. Espérate, voy a apagar la tele por si ya no subimos. Vente ya. Ahora vamos. ¿Dónde crees que se escucha? A ver, déjame ver si está la puerta cerrada. Espérame aquí. Son solo golpes. ¿Qué pedo? ¡Ah, no mames! ¡Ah, no mames! ¿Qué pedo?
He opens the front door, scans the porch, pans left and right, and finds absolutely no one there. The yard is empty. Whatever was knocking, it wasn't waiting around to be seen. He moves back through the house, catches his own reflection in a mirror, and visibly recoils. Then, the piano in the living room plays a single loud, discordant chord on its own, and when he turns toward it, the brass doorknob on the closet beside it starts rattling violently, shaking like something inside is trying to force it open. He opens it, just cleaning supplies. Then, a child's ride-on toy car rolls out from a dark doorway and stops in the middle of the hallway entirely on its own. He keeps filming. He walks into the kitchen, and the doorknob on the door leading to the garage begins rattling just like the first one did. He opens it and steps inside. What builds across this footage is exactly the kind of escalating pattern that makes cases like this harder to dismiss. Multiple phenomena, different rooms, different types of disturbances, none of them repeating the same trick twice. But it's what happens in that garage that seals it, because if you listen closely, you can hear it. A clear, sharp, disembodied male whisper saying, "Vait," which translates directly to "go away" or "leave." Some think the whisper changes the nature of what's happening entirely, because poltergeists aren't typically understood to speak, and a presence that issues a verbal warning carries a very different kind of intent. Skeptics argue the variety of events across one clip stretches credibility, suggesting a staged production, but his reactions track consistently from unease to outright terror, and he never stops filming. Whatever was in that garage with him, it didn't just want to be noticed, it wanted him out. So the real question isn't whether something was there, it's why it was so eager for him to leave. The following video was captured by a man who had been noticing strange things happening inside a shed on his property. Not occasionally, not randomly, but with the kind of regularity that makes you stop dismissing it and start paying attention. He'd set up a Ring security camera inside the shed specifically to catch whatever was going on in there. And what it recorded during the day while the space sat empty is the kind of footage that's hard to shake. Watch.
Man, look at this.
You guys saw up there. There's nothing up there. Okay, look, if you lived in this house, would you even walk up there for a second? I have no reason to. There's nothing up there that I need. And there must, I know I saw this when I looked up there. It looked like a pulley system. So whoever was here must have put stuff in here and pulled it up. That's what that must have been. And that thing completely disconnected. That was tied. Look, I saw it because it was tied around this thing right here. That, and I saw it before. I'm not going up there and I'm not using it. So that fell. So, yeah, man.
In a matter of minutes, that shed goes from a quiet, cluttered workshop to something that looks like an active poltergeist event. A door swings open on its own, a small dark object is hurled through the open doorway, and then a large wooden plank is violently thrown across the room before being lifted straight back up by something that isn't there. Old-fashioned music starts playing from somewhere inside the space. A low moan filters through the audio, and then a scream. No one is visible in that shed at any point. He then heads up into the attic above the shed with his phone's flashlight, and what he finds up there adds a different kind of strangeness to the whole situation. Broken name signs reading Mr. and Mrs. Ronald J., with the last name snapped clean off, a shattered Rolex, shot glasses from Sweetbriar College, a women's college in Virginia. None of it belonging to him, all of it left by a previous owner whose identity is still only half legible. Some viewers think the activity is poltergeist-driven, a term used to describe paranormal disturbances characterized by physical movement of objects, often concentrated around a specific location rather than a person. Unlike a haunting, which tends to follow the individual, others think the broken name signs are the more unsettling detail because something tied to a specific person, something incomplete, something literally snapped in half, has a way of suggesting unfinished business. Then, it got worse. Days later, he's back at the property and you can see in his face that the anger has started to replace the fear.
And I came in here yesterday, and if you want to look in the video from yesterday, that was closed. I slammed that closed in the video. In the video, I slammed it closed and it's fucking open. Now, people were asking, where's your camera? You had a camera in here. Yes, I sat my outdoor camera that is right there up on the house. I set that, look, she won't even come in. I set that camera right there in the corner. I have now purchased a stationary one that is going to be up in that corner. And this is where everything has been happening. Hey, you, I'm over it. You hear that, you piece of shit? I'm over it. Get out of my house. You hear me? Oh, you're not saying nothing today, bitch, are you? Are you? Are you? Huh? You ain't saying nothing today, bitch, are you? Where you at? Where you at, you mother? Because I do not care anymore. What's up? Where you at? Where you at? Huh? Nothing? Yeah, you don't want to talk shit today? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Didn't want to say shit. Of course, man. Of course. Of course. I'm over it. I got a different energy now. That thing. I'm telling you what. This thing has been drawing me in. I have been standing at this window in my kitchen, staring out of this window right here in this shed. I have sat here. It's like it's drawing me in. I'll sit there, wake up late at night, come down the stairs, stand at that sink, or look out of that bathroom window and just stare at this shed. Watch it. Molly, you want to come in? Yeah. Well, if that doesn't tell you, I don't know what does.
Dogs reacting to unseen presences is one of the oldest pieces of anecdotal evidence in paranormal cases. They're not performing for the camera, they're not influenced by suggestion, they just refuse. Molly refused. Whatever's in that shed, it's been there through multiple visits, it's getting louder, and it appears to have opinions about who leaves and who stays. This next video was recorded by a man who woke up at almost 2 in the morning, too unsettled to go back to sleep, and decided to walk through his house with his phone to figure out what was scaring him. He speaks in Spanish throughout, narrating his fear in real time as he moves from the bathroom into the hallway, past a Christmas tree and a dimly lit dining area, the whole space cast in long shadows and that particular kind of quiet that feels wrong at that hour. As he explores, something starts before he even makes it past the kitchen. A strange, high-pitched electronic whine bleeds into the audio, and he stops to whisper, "Escuchen." Listen. Then a sharp bang hits from somewhere off camera, and then, twice, a high-pitched sigh drifts in, clearly audible, clearly not him, sounding like a woman. He checks room after room, peering into a pitch-black closet where the only thing visible is a small blue LED in the dark. Eventually, he makes his way out to a covered outdoor patio. Watch.
Ay, güey. No hace aire, Se empezó a mover solita. Ay, cabrón. Vámonos. Así ya se puso esto. Vámonos para arriba mejor. Vámonos, que ya se puso gacho este rollo.
When he switches on the overhead light, a large fabric hammock hanging from the ceiling beams is already swinging, smooth, rhythmic, as if it had just been pushed. He says it out loud, "No haste air. There's no wind." You can hear the fear in his voice as he confirms what he's looking at. Some viewers immediately pointed to poltergeist activity, the kind associated with physical disturbances, unexplained sounds, then movement. Others think something was already outside waiting. And just as the clip ends, that female sigh returns one final time. So what was in that house with him? The following videos were recorded inside a 1920s home filled with vintage decor, taxidermy, and what the man living there describes as a collection of haunted objects. Pieces he brought with him from a previous house, ones that, according to him, had never caused any trouble in this new space. That changed. In the first clip, he's home alone when he starts hearing banging from the living room, grabs his phone, and heads downstairs to investigate. Watch.
Banging in the living room. There's nobody else in the house. I've just been upstairs watching TV. Some of my old haunted objects from the old house are in here, but nothing's ever happened. Hello? Hello? Oh. Whoa! Oh my god. What? What the hell? Whoa. I'm not staying in there. Oh my god. Oh, it's even colder in here. What is that noise? Hello? Oh my god. Well, it looks like my objects are back at it again, doesn't it? What the hell? What the hell now? I am getting out of here. What the hell?
A taxidermy bird on the fireplace mantelpiece suddenly pitches forward and hits the floor, and almost immediately after, a heavy brass object is violently hurled from the hearth with a loud metallic crash. Then, minutes later, a dining chair in the next room is thrown backward with such force it lands upside down on the carpet. He's audibly shaken, breathing hard, saying his objects are back at it again, before declaring he's leaving the house. Many viewers pointed to poltergeist activity as the most likely explanation, a term that, in paranormal tradition, refers not to a haunting tied to a location, but to a disruptive energy that appears to attach itself to objects or even people, following them from place to place. That would explain a lot here, because the haunted objects theory isn't one he's dismissing himself. Skeptics have pointed to the perfectly timed camera angles and the staged feel of the vintage filter, but the force behind those crashes is hard to shrug off entirely. Then, it got worse. In the second clip, filmed at dusk in the same house, he's alone downstairs while his partner sleeps upstairs when the knocking starts on the living room door. Not once, but repeatedly, and in what sounds like direct response to his questions. Watch closely.
Okay folks, I've just got the camera out because for the third time this afternoon, there's been knocking on the living room door. Now, my partner's presently asleep upstairs. I'm just having a little relax watching TV down here. As you can see, just myself. And several times this afternoon now, the door, either the handle's rattled or no, it's can't hear. Or someone's knocked on the door. Shh, listen. Hello? Is that you? What the hell are you doing? Whoa, my... What? Are you doing that? Fucking hell. What the hell? See. Is that you, Craig? Hello? If that's you... So... Can you hear that, love? What is it, eh? What is it? Hello? Oh, see, I'm terrified now after the bloody last time. Is anybody in here? Oh. Just heard the noise upstairs as well. Sorry about my language. Oh, Jesus. I don't really know where to go. What's that? Oh shit. Oh my god. The frame's just smashed. It's just missed my legs as well. It's the frame smashed on the floor. Oh my god, what is going on? It's smashed. Jesus. That has been up there for a while. There's no reason at all. Whatever is doing this, get out of this house. You're not welcome.
The lights begin to flicker violently as the knocking continues. Then, heavy footsteps thud down the staircase while no one appears, and moments later, a picture frame is hurled from the wall at the bottom of the stairs, shattering on the floor and nearly hitting his legs. He picks up the broken frame, a lenticular haunted house print, and shouts at whatever's in the house to get out. For viewers who follow poltergeist cases, the escalating pattern here is exactly what researchers describe as a build phase, the activity growing more aggressive, more physical, and more personal over time. Whatever is behind these events, it doesn't seem interested in stopping.